How many possible files can you make with 1 megabyte? To answer this question, we need to know what makes up a megabyte. And what makes up a megabyte is millions of different bits. And each bit can have 2 possible values, a 1 or a 0, which leads to 2 different states. And the reason why it's 2 different values is because it's easier for computers to understand on and off as electricity going through as a 1 and no electricity going through as a 0. With 2 bits, we get 4 possible values. With 3 bits, we get 8 possible values. And with 4 bits, we get 16 possible values. The formula that we use to figure out how many possible values or files we can have with a certain amount of bits is 2 to the power of x, or 2 to the power of bits. Here are more values if you're wondering, from 1 bit to 10 bits. As we double the amount of bits we have starting from 1, then going to 2, then going to 4, 8, and so on, you may notice that the number of values or files that we can have increases exponentially. But what about 8,388,608 bits? And if you're wondering why the amount of bits in a megabyte is closer to 8 million compared to 1 million, it has to do with this right here. So if it was closer to 1 million, it would be 1 megabit. And since we're talking about 1 megabyte, it's closer to 8 million. And the difference between a bit and a byte is that a bit is, well, 1 bit, and a byte is 8 bits. And the reason why it's 8 bits is because 8 bits is enough to store the entire upper and lowercase alphabets, numbers, symbols, and a few other things to make your computer work. So they just called it a byte. Which is why we're talking about 8 million bits compared to 1 million. You may just think that we can do 2 to the power of 8 million and be done with this. But if I open calculator and do 2 to the power of 8,388,608, we get invalid input. However, I may have found a little trick that will allow us to calculate this. If we go back to this, if we just enter in 2 and just keep hitting square, 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 since 4 squared is 16 and 16 squared is 256 and 256 squared is 65,536 and so on, all we have to do is just do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 to figure out where we are. And we will eventually get to 8,388,608 bits. This will be our amount of bits, and this will be the amount of values. Well, apparently we can only get to 32,000 before it goes into overflow. That sucks. Guess we're out of options. What the heck? The special thing about the calculator on Windows XP and Vista is that there's no overflow limit, like on Windows 10. They added an overflow limit in Windows 7. And as you can see, we already passed the 10,000 number limit. However, as we get to higher numbers, the calculation gets a lot slower. Doing 2 to the power of 8 million is still impossible. Because if we input a number that's too large, it won't calculate it. However, since there is no overflow limit, we can still get there. Even though this laptop is able to calculate the number we are going to calculate, it's really slow and is going to take hours. So we're going to need something a lot faster, maybe something made by HP. Just like XP, we can't just enter in a large number and expect for it to calculate. But we can just keep repeatedly doing 2 squared. After 20 minutes, 56 seconds, .42, we have our answer. 4.26448759273272892608556 times 10 to the power of 2,525,222. Now back to our original question. How many files can you make with 1 megabyte? The answer is a lot, or more specifically, 4 times 10 to the power of 2.5 million. And although this PC that I have can do more than that, it's going to take a long time to get there. It took 20 minutes just to calculate 2 to the power of 8 million. And we would have to press the square button 10 more times to get to how many files can you make with 1 gigabyte. And that will take months, not 20 minutes. One thing that I found strange is that when I square rooted 4 times 10 to the power of 2.5 million by 8 million, which would get us back to 2, instead of taking 20 minutes, it didn't even take a second. Which I find really strange, how that even works. I would also like to announce that I'm making a website for the calculator games video that I made. It'll include the original 5 plus a few more that I've discovered along the way, like Connect 4 or Battleship. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.